To show that an operation is associative under a binary operation, there are something that you have to pay a close attention to, and I will demonstrate that in just a few seconds. Now, look at this question. Then we are having a very nice question that says that the s operation y is equal to s plus y and then plus what plus 6, right? So what I normally do is that x here will be the first person. If I want to combine this first person with the second guy, then this is how I must combine them. Is that okay? I have to pick the first person and then add the second person to that. After then I'll dash them up 6. Is that okay? So adding 6 to that. That's very simple. Now here the question is saying that you want to determine whether or not this operation, right, the way of combining these two people is associative, where this x and y are coming from. They are coming from R, right? So I normally call that a house. Of course, in the house we have people in that house. So this house here, there are people. This is where we are going to select our people before we can combine them. Okay, now there's one key that you have to pay a close attention to if you want to demonstrate whether an operation is associative, right? So you need a third person. So this is an association. Is that okay? If it is an association, then you have to have a group of people, right? So for you to show that this is an association, you just need three people. Of course, you already have two people here. So this is the first person and the second. You need an additional person. So you can say that to show, right? So you can say to show uh associative, right? So to show associative properties, so you have that the first person, if I pick the first person and convert that with the second person into what one bracket, and then you need what the third person, right? So let's call that z, because this is just in alphabetical order, right? So x operation y all in one bracket, everything operation the z must be equal to the x out, right? So s out here and then y plus operation z. Okay, this is the only way you can use to show that an operation. As in the case of a high school, maybe this is the only way. Is that okay? So this is how you can show that something is an operation. So you have arrangement matters here. That's the most important thing. So if you want to do the selection here, is you may choose to have the first person and the second person first. That is your selection, and then you are done. You pick what the third one in addition to that. So what will happen if you take the first person out and I combine the second one and the third before I'll come and add what the first guy to? Am I going to have the same answer? Right? So maybe in the case of a football team, if you do a selection for the first person, the second person first, and then before you add a third person, maybe let's say you are able to win, right? So what will happen if you decided to bench or ignore the first person here, and then you add the second and the third? You decided to start with the second and the third before you add the first person. Are you still going to win? That is the question. So if that is the case, you win in both cases. Then we say that the operation is associated. Is that okay? Now let's see how to demonstrate using this operation. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel for more details, and make sure that you stay to the end, whereby you have a fraction, right? So you have a fraction here. We are going to demonstrate that at the end of this video. If you have a fraction, how can you show that is associative? So this is your first step. Your first step is that you have to consider the left hand side. So left hand side here, right? So left hand side. So this is what you are going to do. So you take the first person operation, the second one, you combine that with the second, and then finally add a third, right? So let's show that. Now with the bracket first, then this is how two people are combined. How are they combined? They are combined by what? This method, right? Let's say you pick the first person plus or the second one, then add 6 to that. So we are dealing with the first bracket. So this is the first bracket. So you have what x plus what plus y plus 6, right? For this one, is that okay? Into one bracket, everything operation, the third one. Is that okay? Now, okay, fine. Once you get the answer to this, once you have the answer to this one, is that okay? So everything becomes what one, right? That is one thing you have to pay close attention. Everything becomes what one. So we can, in some cases, you can even use a to any letter to represent everything that you had in this bracket, right? So now, if this is one thing, then it means that if you want to convert that with the second one or maybe the third one in that case, then here should be what this is how the operation said that we should add what the first person plus what the second person. So this will be our first person. That is what x plus what plus y plus 6. This will be our first person, and then plus what the second. So here in this case, the z will be our second, right? So z, and then finally plus 6. Are you getting the point? So everything here will be what one k. Maybe if this thing will worry you, if you represent here by what by any letter. So let's say we choose to represent here by A, right? So it means that we are going to have A operation was Z, which will be equal to the first person, that is A plus what? Plus what? The Z, the second one, and then plus what? Plus 6. This is what we are having. So what was the A? We are the one who introduced A here. So we can represent this A by what? By X, S plus Y, and then plus 6, right? This A is everything, and then plus Z, and then plus 6. Have you seen the key? So that is what the key here you have to pay close attention to. So now here you can proceed and do the calculation, then manipulate and combine everything together to have. So if you combine everything, this is what you are going to have, right? So as at this point, you cannot do anything again. So this one will be what our first selection. So we are naming this one what expression or maybe one, right? So maybe question one or expression one. Is that okay? So this is what we have. Now this will be for the left hand side. So you have to go and check what the second one, right? So you have to go and check the second one, this part here, and see if you are going to have the same what outcome. If you have the same outcome, then it means that the operation is associative. But if you have a different outcome, that is where we are going to show that the operation is not associative. So now the second part is you have to determine the right hand side, right? So the right hand side. So this is what I mean by the right hand side. So we are going to limit the first person out, and then we choose to consider the second and the third first, right? So to consider the second and the third first, so it means that here we are going to have our S out here, and then this one will give me the operation says that you should pick the first person plus of the second person, which is the Z, and then plus 6, right? So now here we are going to this will be the first result. Then you have to combine that with the first person. So meaning that we are going, if it is the first person, then the operation says you should combine the first person here plus the second. So everything will be our second. So Y plus Z, and then plus 6, and then finally, and then plus another 6. Is that okay? So everything will be one, just like the way I explained in the first part. So if you combine everything, still you are going to have the same answer. That is x plus y plus z, and then plus what? Plus stuff, right? So you just need to check. So this was your first outcome, and then the second outcome, right? So this will be the second outcome, and then the first outcome. If you see, these two people are the same. Is that okay? If these people, because we have x plus y plus z and then plus stuff, yes, we are having the same thing, x plus y plus z and then plus stuff, right? So this is what we are having at the end. If that happens, we say that the operation, look at something, the operation is the operation star is is associated, right? It's associated. So if you are still here watching this video, then as I promised, then let's see how to solve a question like this. So this is a nice one. So you have a this is another operation. Then don't let this thing confuse you. This is just a sign to show how we can combine two people in our society, right? So A operation B, that is got A plus B, everything over what A and then AB, right? So AB, yeah, then it says to show that these things are an associative, right? So is it an associate? That is one thing you are going to demonstrate. If that is the case, fine. If it is not the case, then we can conclude. You have to show it. So just like in the case of the first part, is that to show, right? To show associative, right? To show associative here. Then we know that look at the letters that we are dealing with. So we need a third guy, right? So the third guy also must also be added to these people, right? So for us to show the associativity. Now we have the A operation, this operation B, everything operation what operation C. Is that okay? Must be equal to, if I take the A out, then I must have A operation C, right? So this is how this is the only key that you can use as at all this point. Now you have to consider what the first part here. So the left hand side, right? So the left hand side here. So you are going to show this one A operation B, everything operation C here, right? So everything operation C must be equal to. So here we are having A operation operation B. So how are they combined? How are these people combined? They are combined by this method. So this is the lay down procedure. So meaning that the first one here It's just going to be a plus b everything divided by what, ab, right? So this is the first one. It's okay into one bracket, right? And then operation the c here, right? So operation the c here, we are going to have what, this is the first one, right? Everything here becomes the first one. Is that okay? Everything here becomes the first one. So maybe if this thing will worry you, maybe I will advise you to replace, right? So maybe you can say that replace, right? Replace this one, everything in this bracket, that is the a plus b over what, ab, by a different letter apart from what, this one, right? So you are going to replace this one by a different letter. Which letter? Any letter of your own choice. So maybe I will go for x, because x is not here, right? I'm not using x. So if I replace that one, so what are we are going to do? We are going to have x, right? So x operation what, operation c, right? So operation c, so that you can see things simple. Is that okay? You can see things simple, right? So if you know that this x operation c, what are they saying? They say that if you want to combine these people, it's going to be the first one. That is what, a, so the first one here, that should be what, the x here, s plus what, plus the second person, right? So x plus the second person. Remember, this is what the operation is being defined. So okay, the first person plus what, the second person, right? Everything divided by the first person multiplied by the second person. So these are the two people that I'm dealing with. So if these are the people that I'm dealing with, as at this point, the x and the what, and the c here. So I have x and then plus what, plus c, which is the second person. Everything divided by x and then sc, right? Can you see the picture? So xc. So what we are going to do here is that we just need to replace this x here by what? By everything, right? So we are the one who introduced this x here. Is that okay? We are just replacing. Maybe let's say this guy wasn't here, so let's this guy take over, right? So once you come back to your position. So this will be equal to our x here was what, a plus b, right? Everything divided by ab, and then plus what, plus the c here, right? So all over what, so a plus b, everything divided by ab, and then c multiply by what, multiply by c, maybe multiply by c, whichever, right? So multiply by c. Is that okay? So that's very, very simple. Here you have to expand and express everything, right? So you have to solve the top one and then you solve the down one as it is. This is very, very simple and straightforward. So if you expand, this is what I'm going to get, right? So here, remember the top here is this is what, a fraction. So you have to find the least common multiple here. So you be assumed that this is over 1, right? So you find the least common multiple, that is the AB, right? So the AB here, you know how to, if you don't know how to solve this fraction, maybe this is just similar to something like 1 over 2 plus or maybe 3 over 4. So okay. So if you know how to solve this, then you should know how to solve these variable cases. Now the down here is the multiplication. So the C is going to multiply everything at the top, right? So AC and then what, BC all over what, AB. Is that okay? So here if you simplify, so you have to simplify this thing, right? So they will cancel out. Right. So the way of doing this thing is to this is a fraction. So since they are divided, they will cancel out. So you turn everything upside down. So you have to have A plus what, plus B plus what, a B C, right? So A B C all over A B, right? So A B. This is what we are having. Let's say divided by. So let's change this sign by division. So that is A C plus what, B C all over AB. So what do you do if you are dividing a fraction? You turn this guy, right? So you change this guy to the upside down. So the denominator to the top. This one goes like this, and this one comes down, right? So here we have a plus or plus b plus or a b c, and then divided by what, a b multiplied by a b divided by what, a c plus what, b c. So you can see that this one will cancel out, right? If they cancel out, then you are going to have the top one, that's the a plus b plus or a b c, and then all over we are left with this guy, that's also a c, and then plus what, b c, right? So this is what we are having. So this will be what, our first step, right? So this will be our first selection here. Now you have to determine the second part to check whether these people are the same. Is that okay? So for you, this is just the left hand side. So talking about the right hand side, then we are going to solve this one, right? So you are going to solve everything whereby you ignore the first person out and then check what, or the third one, right? When you are done, you come just like in the case of the first part of this video. So when you are done, you compare the two and check whether it's an associative. Let me hear your comment in the comment section below. Just try this one, right? So try this thing and then give me your comment whether it is an associative or not, right? Is it an associative or not? Is that okay? Let me hear your comment in the comment section below.